Alright, this is going to be the assembly, or disassembly and assembly of the KWA m93r gas blowback pistol. So this is going to be just like my last video on disassembling a gun. Two-part for the top part and the bottom part. Now let's get into taking apart the gun. So first off, you're going to want to start by getting out the mag, like you would for any other gas gun, and then take out right there, or not take it out, but push right there, this part, push that in, and what that does, that pushes this little BB part up, and then you pull this part down like that, and that has the slide come off. So now if you pull it off, just kind of keep your finger right there on that, because this is a spring, and this is very easy to spring out. This part, it's super easy. All it has to do is go up and it will spring out. So that's basically how you take out the spring, this bar. Put that up there. Make sure there's no like cracks or anything in the table. Like right here, this was open, because there are a lot of really tiny little parts that go into the disassembly of this gun, and you wouldn't want to lose any. I have a little magnet ball right here so that nothing goes away. But yeah, let's get into this. So first, what you want to do is take out this barrel part, and so what you're going to do is kind of pull that back, so this part is detached from the blowback housing. Then you're just going to kind of pull it up through here, pull it out. So we're going to set that aside for a little bit later. So this is the blowback housing, basically, and not a lot of videos I've watched have talked about the back part, or the blowback housing. It's only been on the barrel. So I'm going to teach you how to take this apart and put it back in. So first, what you're going to want to do is right here, this just looks like a hole, but it's actually an Allen key. So this isn't the right size. If you get something like this, here we go. This is actually an Allen key, and yeah, I was just kind of playing around with this, and I stuck one of these in there, and I was like, oh. So take this out. This is a fairly long screw, so most likely you won't lose it, but there's that screw. Put that over there. There we go. So now you would think, since there's no, anything back there or something, you would think it would just kind of fall out, right? But it doesn't, because what you actually need to do is, if you see right there, and then on the other side right there as well. Here, let's see if I can get better lighting. Right there, and then right there, you can stick something down here, and then on the other side, something down here, and if you kind of pry it, it will just kind of come up. I've done this before, so this is pretty loose, fairly loose, but when you do this, before you do this, make sure right here there is going to be, once I completely take it apart, I'll show you, but there's going to be a spring right back there, and there's also going to be a little archish thing, and that's going to be the part that kind of like presses in at the back of most all guns. So when you're taking this apart, be really careful, because I have lost that spring so many times, and I don't even know how some of the times I found it. Right now I don't have it, so I can't show you guys how small it is, but it is very small and very easy to lose, so be careful about that. So pull this up and out, and this won't be like most gas blowback guns if you've ever taken them apart. I accidentally, this part, when I took this apart for the first time, I popped these springs up, like off the top of right here, and when I was test frying it, when I put everything back together, this, when it went out and came back in, this part got kind of like stuck back there. That's why it's all mangled and stuff. you know, that's not supposed to be like that. Yours will just look like this one. I would recommend not taking these off because it's super hard to get them back on. I like dug a little bit into like the sides with a knife a little bit just to get in a better divot, but I recommend not doing it because it's super hard to get back on. But yeah, all this does, this just comes off, and there that is. If you want to redo another one of those. And you can see right now, see how easily that just came up and off. And if you do take the springs off, all you do is you'll see one side is kind of lower than the other. There, you can kind of see that one side is a little bit lower than the other. All you have to do is just kind of plop that over there and just kind of pick it down with your fingernail or something. Just get it really firmly down in there, and kind of keep working at it for a long time. Maybe even overly work it, because you really don't want this to come off, because if it does, it's gonna suck, and then the spring might get ruined, and then you might have to buy like a whole kit just to get a spring, and I don't think you want to do that. So if they can go all the way out and back in and doesn't have any troubles, you know, this is just stopping just because there's no top over it, it's bending up. But yeah, so there's that. And what I was talking about with the spring is right here. This is the little part that kind of pushes in. There'll be a spring back here, and then right in here there is this. This is kind of what holds it in. So that is all of that. I'm going to teach you how to put this back in, then I'll move on to the barrel. So first off, we're going to put this little arch back in. Now, how it's going to be is there's going to be kind of like a step almost. This is going to be out more than this part, and you want the part that's out to slide in closer to the front of the gun. So if you guys can see that, there's going to be kind of like right there. It's going to go right in between there. So if you can see what that looks like without it, and then once I put this in, what it looks like it with, it's right there. So once you have that in, then you're going to put, if you have a spring, you're going to put the spring in right there. And then most of the time, you know, when I first did this, I thought I would put it in like that. Well, you're not going to do that. You're going to want to put it in like this, with this big circle part towards the towards this part, and you want the circle that to be facing up and down, because what happens is this goes through that like that, and then it's like this, but with it all together. So when this goes up here, that goes through there, and yeah, you'll see how it really works once I start putting it back together. So if you put this in here like that, remember your spring goes in before this, and then the little knobbish part goes out. So now see how you can see right through there. There you go. So you can see on the other side. That's what you want. So then you can stick this through. There we go. Through and up to that hole. So you want that up, and then see how easily that just came off again. You really want to put that down. I can't stress that enough to get this down, because if you know your blowback doesn't work, basically the gun, you're gonna need to buy a new one, because the gun won't work properly and it will get jammed. So you really want to make sure this is down and in there. There we go. Remember, just check this and see if it can go out and back in fast, because that's the whole point of the gun. There we go. So now, once that's all ready and this is up, you're gonna basically flip this upside down and put it in like this. So you can see here's the two spots where we put in the screwdrivers. These little like parts on the outside are going to basically line up right with them. And then as well as in the back right here, this part is going to be right along, and this part can also fall out, so it's actually easier, honestly, just to put it right on the back like that. I remember with the shorter part kind of facing out that way. You guys see what I mean? The shorter part is facing out a little bit more, and the bigger part is up against the blowback part. But anyway, so continuing on with how to put this in, right here, that part, that goes right, if you see the extra little notch thing right there, that's where that fin kind of goes along, so. Just like, you're gonna kind of have to press that in like that. And then this part will be sticking out a little bit, so you're just gonna screw that back in with the Allen key again. There we go. And check if this works. If it goes back in and out fast, don't be afraid to pull it, because that's what it's meant to do. If it does that, then you're good to go. Everything's in there solidly. Alright, so now get ready for this part, because it is going to be a lot of little tiny pieces that you do not want to lose. So I would say clear off a lot of your clutter everywhere with all your tools and stuff, and get something like, I like to use some pliers or something, just to, because you're gonna be hitting out a bunch of little like poles or stuff like that that hold stuff in. So I like to get something that you can like hold up and still hit it in. And also I like to use a little nail that's kind of been blunted out so it won't poke through, to hit it out with. So first, what we're gonna start with is right here. There's a little, that hole right there, that's what we're gonna hit out. And with the pliers, this is how I like to do it. If I can angle a little bit, like you set it up just like that, right? Put the nail there, and just this one kind of comes out fairly easily. I can just press that through. And be careful, this does have a spring, and you can see where my nail went through if you're wondering where I put it through. Right there. So this one comes out fairly easily. I barely even need to put any pressure on it. I just kind of press it through. It's not like gonna slip out, but you get the point of just me being able to put minimum force on it. There is a little bit of a spring right there, as you can see, so taking this off, be careful. It's not super tiny, so you're just gonna take this part out. You're gonna kind of bend it up and around like that, and then take the spring out. Don't lose that, and then put that to the side. So now you're going to want to take this part out, and if you look at yours, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, there's nothing there, how am I supposed to take it out? There actually is one, it's just kind of hollowed out. I don't know why they would do this. It doesn't really make a lot of sense to me why they would, but they did it, and that's what we gotta live with. So you're gonna put it just like I did it last time. It's right there, if you didn't see it the first time, so you don't have to back up. Right there. I just kind of put it right there, and just kind of hit it out with something, and hold this together. these two parts, because this is plastic, and when you hit it out, it can get bent, and then it could break, and you don't want it to break, so hold that together. Make sure to hold that. There we go. Alrighty. And now, there is going to be a little tiny, like, washer thing that falls out from inside right here. Right there. That kind of holds this in-ish. But yeah, you can put that to the side now. There we go. Alright. So now, the inner barrel will come out from the outer barrel. And that's all of the outer barrel done. Yep. You can put that to the side. There we go. And now you don't want, I don't think you, yeah, you don't need an Allen key anymore, so you can put those aside or back or whatever you want. And now, get on to the inner barrel. So this does have a two poles you need to hit out right in there. So let's get those out before we do anything. There, you get the little nail-y thingy. There we go. Alright, there we go, that's one. And so, next one will be right here. This is also a hollow one, so this is going to be a little harder. There it is, and there this is. Tiny little one. There it is. So now, there that is, and this, there's one more part. So basically what we're trying to do here is get this part off of this part. And so this part is a little bit easier, instead of hammering out all that other stuff. So what this part does, basically, it keeps the barrel from spinning. That's basically what it does. And I'll tell you a little bit more about it when we put it back together. But this Phillips head screwdriver, you just unscrew this part. Might be a little tight at first, but you'll get it after a bit. Put that over there. And then this kind of, it goes like up like that and out. There's that. And then now, so then what you're going to do is you want to be very, very careful with this part. So what this turns on, this is the hop up unit, and what happens is there's a little tiny metal ball that's going to come out through one of these things. So you want to turn it until you find the metal ball. You want to turn, yep, see, right there. There it is, and it's going to kind of spring out, but not too much. There you go. And it's super tiny, and you don't want to lose this, because that, basically, your hop-up wouldn't work anymore. So then, what you're going to do is take out this bottom part. There we go. This part. This was coming from right here. Take that off, put that to the side, and now we can slide this up. And don't try to get, we can slide this part up. Don't try to get this off. You can, but there's really no point in doing it if you want to, you know. I like to leave it on, but yeah, I mean, you can do whatever you want. So now, take that off. And then right here, this clip This clip came from right here. Take that clip off. And then right here. Are you serious?
Why?
She said Laura Grace, not you.
I'm recording. I asked you to be quiet.
Sorry. Listen. Okay, real quick.
So once you get this part off, you're gonna kind of pull the hop-up bucking down. Or not the bucking, but the hop-up unit down. Pull it out. And then this is just gonna be... And you're just gonna pull this off, basically. You want to be careful not to rip this when you pull this off. There you go. And there it is. That is the barrel completely disassembled. Alright, and now we're going to start by putting it back together. So, first we'll start with the bucking. You're going to put the wider side and the BB part right where this opening is. Right there. You kind of slide that over until it kind of gets in there and you can't really pull it back. Then, you're going to slide the hop-up part of it over top of it like that, so you can't really pull it up anymore. Then you're going to put the clip back on like this, and you're going to want to have this part facing down the barrel, and there's this big kind of notch, and there's tiny ones. You want the big notch at the very top of this, and you put this clip on like there, like that. Then we are going to slide this back on just like that. Then going from here, this is going to go right in here. There we go. Alright, if you're with me so far. Now we can put in the BB, or the little ball, not the BB, but the little tiny metal ball right in that thing, that little divot. There we go, just like that. And then just kind of turn the barrel. There we go. Alright. So now, from here, we're going to put this part back on here. So now this can be a little tricky if it's your first time. What this actually is if you can see how it's kind of like a hook right there, that is hooking on to that little lip. You can sort of see kind of like the silhouette of it. So you're gonna pull it like that, pull it down, fold it in like that, and then screw it. So you want to be like flush with that. And as well as with the barrel, you want the flat side right there to be on this side of it, because this is what keeps the barrel still. You screw in this. This is the Phillips head screw, if you were wondering. Now we're going to put in these two not bolts, but pins. There we go. press that in. Just make sure it gets in flat, or this won't move as smoothly as it could. Yep. Alright, so now we put other one in. Right there. Go and just kind of. There we go. There we go. Alrighty. So now, if everything still turns right the way it should, the hop up still works, everything is good, we are going to put these parts back onto here. So now we're going to put this part right in there. There we go. So now this is a little tricky part. What you're going to do is take these two things. This part, this little tiny thing that fell out from right here, this is gonna have to go back in there. And this is tricky, but if you do it right the first time, obviously you won't have to do it again, so why not do it right, you know? So if you kind of put it at like the beginning of this part and then just kind of push it up, but make sure it doesn't flip like mine just did. Flip it sideways like that. See, and if you keep it right there, when you push it down, it is going to, if you look through the hole, you're gonna see that it's actually gonna stay right there. And when you put the pin through, that's where it's gonna go, and it's gonna go, and you want to keep the little washer thing in there. So we hold it right there. That's where it's gonna go. And then if you take like a little nail and just kind of almost swirl it around almost, that'll open it all the way up. And then you push this through. There we go. If this moves back and forth, go. This still turns. That should be good. Alright, so now we're putting this part back in to right there. But this is actually a really tricky part with this spring. This little spring is gonna have to go right there. And the problem is we need to get this to curve down to be like that. So if you notice down right there, that's where the spring goes. So my little trick is if you tilt the spring just a little bit, you can almost bend this around it. And see that this is the super hard part. So if you put the spring on the edge almost, not on the edge so much that it's falling off, but just enough on the edge so this can get by. Yeah, this is a super hard part. If you also just kind of hold it and then just put it into its hole like that. Just kind of hold the spring as you're kind of folding it down in. That is also an easy way too. And then you just put this pin back in. And the hole right there. Oh. Go. And then just make sure that's alright, and that can go up and down. Make sure the bucking can still turn, you know, there it can go. Alright, and that should be good. So now, just basically put the gun back together. You're going to take this, put it through here, drop it in there, and kind of like that, if you can see that, just like that. It can still go down like that. Here we go. So actually go flush with right up there. There can be a difference with it going down and up. This part should connect to the top. Alright, and now this is a little annoying part because it's almost all guessing pretty much. I like to kind of get it almost like you're gonna inject something, kind of like that, like hold the spring, and then try to show this best you can. Pull the spring all the way down, put that in there. You can let go of the spring now, and just kind of push it down until you get it through. And then since this can fold, since this part goes down, which is the part we were just putting in, that is very easy just to kind of like let it fall down onto it, so you don't need to like put it around a big anything. So what I like to do for putting it back in the side is hold it right there by the bottom of the spring, because this will pop out and back down. And you know, you just align it up with this. Still hold it down. Now for this part, this thing on this side, this stops the slide. You want to push that down to let it go past, and then there. Alright, and then once you get it on, you're gonna slide it, try to get it all the way back, pull that forward. There you go. There it is. Alright, well, thank you for watching this video. I hope this has improved more of your knowledge on airsoft guns, what they're like, and what you want to do with your airsoft career, or just if you want to play airsoft in general. Please leave a like, subscribe, and yeah, I'll see you in my next video.